A very good morning, students. I welcome you all on behalf of Tungal College, and this is Rutesh Zavalkar, your Faculty of Biology, and we are studying the lecture number 3 on human health and diseases. Till yesterday's class, we have learnt up regarding the common human diseases which are prevailing in our society. They were classified into few bacterial diseases like typhoid and pneumonia. We learnt of fungal disease, something like ringworm. We learnt of viral diseases like common cold, helminthic diseases, which we have learned regarding ascariasis as well as elephantiasis. And also we learned of one protozoan disease, which is amoebic dysentery caused by Entamoeba histolytica. And I also made you up about very well aware what is the difference between diarrhea as well as dysentery. Today we are going to learn one more protozoan disease which is well known up about to each and everyone, and that is nothing but malaria. So what is this malaria? Which pathogen causes it? And much details we are going to learn for our today's class. Today's class is only about malaria, because in your syllabus they have kept regarding this pathogen the entire life cycle also, how it attacks, what all stages happens, everything in detail we are going to learn it out. So I welcome you all again on behalf of Tungal College, and let's start up with this today's particular session with a quote of a day. The question isn't who is going to let me, it's who is going to stop me from getting the medical seat. Is it true? With this particular quote of a day, let's start up with our today's class and let's crack up in the next year the NEET examination with full-fledged marks as well as about a proper medical seat selection. So today's class is regarding a protozoan disease, which is malaria. Whatever the photograph you are able to see up, in this, the central particular cell which has been there is actually that protozoan pathogen, which is nothing but Plasmodium. Plasmodium is a genus which belongs to a protozoa, and that is known to cause malaria. Let's learn up some few history regarding this particular pathogen and the disease. Historical aspects of malaria. The word malaria simply means mal air, means foul smelling air. Lancisi in 1770 first suspected there should be some relationship between a standing water, swamp, malaria, and some mosquitoes. Because people before 1717, what they were feeling it, whenever we used to stand up at the swamp area, standing water area, usually maximum people used to suffer with high chilling fever, which is nothing but today's malaria. So people said that whenever we stand up at the standing water area closer by, we always get some foul smelling air, and that gives us such particular disease. But it was the Lancisi who said wherever there is a standing water, every time malaria is not caused. Malaria is only caused whenever in such standing water, mosquitoes are being present. And if those mosquitoes are biting the human being, then only malaria is being caused. So he was the first person who said there is some relationship between such standing water swamp, mosquitoes, and malaria caused up to the human being. Take the photograph, we'll be moving further, students. Discovery of malarial parasite. This goes to the person Charles Louis Alfonso Laveran. In simply words, you can say Charles Laveran. Almost about 160, 80, 70 years later, after the discovery of the malaria, he was the person who discovered that the malaria is caused by a protozoan parasite, and he said it is Plasmodium. He saw that these Plasmodium are present in these water bodies. They get carried by the mosquitoes when the larvae are growing up in the standing water. And the time this mosquito bites a normal person, it will add up the Plasmodium into that person, so he will suffer with malaria. He explained the entire life cycle also. For this particular discovery, Charles Lavren was awarded with Nobel Prize in 1907 in physiology. Can we move further? It was later Sir Ronald Ross, almost around 17 years later, on 20th August 1897, Ronald Ross, a doctor in Indian Army, found that malarial parasite Plasmodium is actually transmitted, carried by the bite of a female Anopheles mosquito only. In his honor, Malaria Day is observed every year on 20th August because that was the day he discovered. He found that the oocytes of Plasmodium in the intestinal wall of mosquito, and that was the confirmation that the same pathogens were there in the malaria infected person, and these oocytes were available in the intestinal wall of mosquito also. So he understood surely mosquitoes are the agents, are the vectors to carry this Plasmodium from one person to another person. For this, he was awarded with Nobel Prize in 1902. Let's move further. There are different type of species of Plasmodium which we see up about into the nature. Usually there are 4 particular species which are well known to cause up the malaria. The first one is, whatever the diagram I have given, it belongs to a Plasmodium itself. The first particular species which is there is Plasmodium vivax. It is usually seen everywhere and maximum cause for malaria. The second species is Plasmodium malariae. The third one is Plasmodium ovale, while the fourth one is Plasmodium falciparum. Among all these 4 particular species, the last one, Plasmodium falciparum, is the most lethal. Lethal means usually people, when they suffer with this Plasmodium falciparum, maximum time they undergo a death because it attacks very fast. It destroys the RBC very, very rapidly. Hence, the most fatal, the most dangerous species of Plasmodium is Plasmodium falciparum. This to be remembered for 1 mark question. But these are the 4 species that you people have to remember it out. I've made the slide simple so that each point should be only present in front of you. Take the photographs. Let's move further. Symptoms of malaria. Whenever a person gets the malaria, he always suffers with high chilling fever. Chilling means continuously he is feeling a cold in the body. He's shivering. And whenever shivering happens, after that, he is associated with the high fever. This is the first symptom, and the fever is very uncontrolled. Same as we can see in the case of typhoid itself. He will have body pain. He will lose his hunger, that is called loss of appetite. Sometimes coughing also will be present. Headache is also very common during the time of malaria. So what is the prevention for malaria? Destroying the mosquitoes, either biologically or chemical means. Like the government usually sprays up about the DDT or other insecticides into the standing water bodies, maybe about the gutters, maybe the drainage areas or standing water regions. The best way is leaving up about some biological organisms who can eat the larvae of the mosquitoes, like the middle one, Gambusia fish. Hope you can recall it in the school times, you have learned it. Gambusia fish is such a fish which feeds on mosquito larvae. So making these fishes to grow in the water bodies surely can control up about the mosquito menace. Apart, in the house, during the sleeping time, better to use up mosquito nets and repellents. It's always advised that whatever the window panes are there should have up about some nets to be present so that mosquito entering will get up reduced. Avoid standing water, any area, maybe on the terrace, maybe up about outside your houses or the locality where you stay. Always try to see none of the buckets, tires and others should be left out where water gets collected. Even if a small amount of water is collected, these mosquitoes will start laying their eggs. So in general, proper sanitation is required. Prevention is always better than cure. Let's move further. See, I have already said in the history what is the causative pathogen. I also said what is the mode of infection. The mode of infection is through mosquitoes, bite of female Anopheles mosquito. Don't consider every time when female Anopheles mosquito bites will get malaria only. Never. That female Anopheles mosquito, if it is having in that Plasmodium, then only its bite can cause the malaria. Okay, so don't say, sir, in our house closer by Anopheles mosquitoes are there, they are biting, so will we get up malaria or what? Never every time. Okay, remember, if the female Anopheles mosquito has in its salivary gland the Plasmodium substances, and if it bites the human being, then only that human will get malaria. Okay. If the mosquito only is not having the Plasmodium, then its bite will never give the malaria. Correct? It's very simple. Chinmay is asking, sir, what are the benefits of stagnant water for mosquito? See, every mosquito species which is there lay their eggs especially on the standing water. In the standing water, whatever up about the algae's growth are being present, that is called flora, water flora. Larvae will eat on that. That is the food of this particular larvae. As I've generally said, all the mosquitoes are herbivorous. They feed on plant substances only. So the larvae also feed on the algal growth as well as up about the phytoplanktons which are present in the water bodies. Hence, they always lay the eggs there. Their life starts in the water. As the larvae will grow older, later it will convert in the mosquito, and the mosquitoes now will come away from the water and starts feeding on the plant juice. It's only the female mosquitoes, any genus and species. It's a female mosquito only bites the mammal because it requires mammalian blood to prepare its own eggs. Then only it can undergo reproduction. This story I have already said in our previous class. Okay, Chinmay, hope you got your answer. Life cycle of Plasmodium. Plasmodium is a digenetic pathogen. Recall yesterday I said one protozoan disease, which is nothing but amoebic dysentery, where I said the flies are carrying this pathogen towards the human being. Like I said, flies, whenever they are sitting in the into the water bodies where up about these entamoebas are being present, they will attach to their legs, they will attach to their mouth parts, and they will travel. When the flies are sitting on the food and the water which we are consuming, then those particular entamoebas will enter in our food. If we consume them, we will suffer with the entamoeba. So I said you that flies which are been there are just carriers, because in their body ant amoeba was not there, just on their surface it was attached accidentally. So cockroaches, flies, anybody can transfer. So the main host for ant amoeba was only human being. So we said monogenetic. But unlike Plasmodium, here is a digenetic pathogen. Two hosts are being present. One is female Anopheles mosquito, and the second one is human being. The primary host is always female Anopheles mosquito. What is mean by primary host? Any host in which sexual reproduction takes place, that host is called primary host, and that becomes female Anopheles mosquito. Whenever you see the Plasmodium life cycle, the gametes preparation, the fertilization and zygote formation, and the young one development, that everything happens inside the stomach wall of female Anopheles mosquitoes. Since sexual phase occurs here, we will regard the female Anopheles mosquito as primary host. The secondary host now becomes human beings. The time such infected female Anopheles mosquito bites a normal human being, then it will add from its saliva the young ones of this particular Plasmodium. Due to which now in the human being, large amount of Plasmodium will be coming, and they undergo continuous amitosis, asexual process. And because of this asexual process, the number will increase and they go on destroying the human RBC, which results in malaria. So human being is a secondary host, while female Anopheles mosquito is a primary host. Okay, there is one interesting question coming from one of your friend. Sir, why does a pathogen is using two hosts and making such two phases rather than it should be restricted to only one host? Now, surely we can think up about that. I can say you up about a reason for this. In an evolutionary time, Protistan came on the planet earlier, correct? Because single cell. After that, surely might have come arthropoda, and human beings have come lastly on this planet, correct? So whatever the Plasmodiums are there, they were surely staying up into the mosquito's body itself, because mosquitoes were developing in the water bodies. It was very easy to be in their own body itself. Accidentally, when the human beings have come, whenever these mosquitoes were feeding on the blood meal, because they always require the human or mammal blood to prepare up about their oocytes now. So the time this female Anopheles mosquito was biting the human being, maybe accidentally some of the Plasmodium, maybe thousands and thousands of years earlier, might have entered accidentally in human being. It understood it is more favorable zone for getting large amount of food resources, and it started dividing there. But after some division, usually in the human body, because he is advanced creature, his advanced immunity will be developed, which will try to kill the pathogen. So during that time, it tried to again escape from the human body. And that time the escape route is, once again, if any female Anopheles mosquito bites the human being, enter through his mouth into the mosquito body and go out. Thus, in these thousands of years of span, it came across two different hosts, and now that has become a constant. Okay, this is the only reason what we can regard to why certain pathogens will restrict to two hosts. Clear? And this is always better, because whenever up about the defense system of any one of the host becomes aggressive, it can suddenly switch up to the other host and make its life much safer. It's a safe zone. Done, Shafi? Take the photograph. This is very important question, students, for reasoning type, 1 mark, 2 marks type, that you have to make it down. Okay, sure. Now, let's learn the detailed life cycle, how it happens. So what I will do is I will classify the life cycle of the Plasmodium into two phases. One, human being, where asexual phase will occur. And second, I will take it up about the life cycle in the case of mosquito, where sexual phases will take place. There is another question, Sakshant, can Plasmodium affect animals, other mammals like cows, dogs, etc.? Yes, surely. But in them, the malaria is not that particular aggressive in giving the diseases. See, it is depending on the different species how severity develops. Human being develops more severe this infection because its body type is different compared to the other species, is it? Like something now, coronavirus is very, very specific to attack more aggressively to human being rather than other animals. So every pathogens are host specific. There only its ability will be more or less. Okay. So surely it will affect because mosquitoes bites other animals also. Chalo, life cycle of Plasmodium in the case of human beings. The photograph which I have shown, the elongated structures, so many which you see is nothing but sporozoite. It is called sporozoite. Sporozoite is the infective stage of the Plasmodium. 1 mark question. So the time in a human being, the Plasmodium comes, it comes in a stage called sporozoite. It is a unicellular young one which has been present. Sporozoites were actually present in salivary glands of female Anopheles mosquito only. The time this female Anopheles mosquito, which is having the sporozoite, will bite a human being, through its saliva, sporozoites are added in the blood of the human being. As a result, along with saliva, thousands of sporozoites now are released into the blood. The saliva contains an anticoagulant anaphyllin, as a result of which blood will be easily moving up through the human skin into the female Anopheles mosquito. Because of this fluidity, these sporozoites easily will enter into the human blood. Remember, any mosquito, when it bites the skin, it knows that the blood will get up solidified. This is called coagulation. So every mosquito before biting will add a chemical called anticoagulant. Here, Anopheles mosquitoes chemical is called anaphyllin. This sees that blood should not get solidified when it is drinking the blood milk. This makes the things easier for the sporozoites to move up into the blood. First step, this is the step number 1. So which is the infective stage of sporozoite, which is the infective stage of malaria in human being? Sporozoites. And who will transfer it? The bite of female Anopheles mosquito. So let's move further. The time of about in the human body, these sporozoites will enter. Yes, Vikas, heparin is a human blood anticoagulant, which makes the human blood always in liquid state. The time the sporozoites have entered in the human blood, now it will make its life into 2 stages. First, it always develops in the liver, means outside the RBC cells. Hence, I call exoerythrocytic cycle. Erythrocyte means RBCs. The Plasmodium makes up about in human being 2 stages of life cycle again. First, it develops in the liver, means outside the RBC, because in the liver it is doing. So it is called exoerythrocytic. And after that, it will enter into the RBCs and develops over there. Then I will call that stage as erythrocytic cycle. So exoerythrocytic cycle occurs in liver, erythrocytic cycle occurs in the RBCs. The first is exoerythrocytic. Sporozoites now reach the liver via the blood. You know, the mosquito, the female Anopheles mosquito, which was having the sporozoite, when it bites the normal human being, the sporozoites in thousands of quantities have been added in the human blood, through which now they travel to the liver. Sporozoites now will multiply by asexual reproduction. You have learned in the chapter number 1, multiple fission. You know, fission, binary fission, multiple fission. By multiple fission, it divides in a large number. Can you see up about the diagram? In the diagram, very carefully, you can see it was a single sporozoite. And now that has made up about so many cells. Within a single cell, so many are there. It is called multiple fission. This stage is called schizont stage. This stage is called what? Schizont stage, in which each small one which is there is called cryptozoites. A single structure having many sporozoites within is called schizont. And soon that sporozoites will convert into a stage called as cryptozoites. How to identify? Elongated ones were sporozoites. Now the small oval or circular ones are called cryptozoites. The time these cryptozoites are formed, due to this, liver cells starts dying. They will start busting. Not entire liver. Liver is a bigger organ, but the cells where this division is occurring, those cells undergoes a death, so that the cryptozoites will be oozed up outside. And now these cryptozoites are released into the blood. The question arises, why liver only first? Simple answer. Liver is the zone where first food is brought from the intestine, digested food. So it contains large amount of protein, large amount of carbohydrates. Everything is a favorable zone. So always up about first they will travel to the liver. That is a safe area for the growth. This is called exoerythrocytic stage or exoerythrocytic cycle. Take the photograph. Let's move further. Yeah, first particular site for a multiplication of Plasmodium is the liver itself. So first liver will get infected. Erythrocytic cycle. Once from the liver, the ruptured schizonts are there. Can you see at the top? Ruptured schizonts are there. Those ruptured schizonts have released large number of cryptozoites. Is it true? These cryptozoites now start attacking large amount of RBCs, because when they are released into the blood, in the blood there is an abundant quantity of RBC. Every cryptozoites now will stay on the RBCs, and now they start dividing. Let's see what are the stages. Cryptozoites enters into RBC and start feeding on hemoglobin present on RBCs. Such feeding or nutritive stage of Plasmodium is now called trophozoite. Means when they were infecting the human being, that was sporozoite stage, elongated structure. When they divided in the liver, they became cryptozoites. Cryptozoites are released in the blood. Now they attack the RBC. On the RBC, they start feeding and become larger ones. Now they are called trophozoite. Can you recall how the stages are changing? Because every stage, the growth when it is happening, it undergoes at different stages. This is trophozoite stage. And you can see up about the photograph also into that diagram. This now enlarges the vacuole in the cytoplasm. Whose vacuole? Surely the Plasmodium's vacuole only. Because of the cryptozoites, vacuole will increase, large amount of reserve it will store. This enlarges vacuole in the cytoplasm. Because of this, the nucleus of the Plasmodium is pushed to one of the corner. And because of pushing to one of the corner, a ring-like structure of nucleus you can see. Can you see, student? A ring-like colored structure which I have shown it up. This looks like a ring only. So it is called signet ring stage. So which particular stage of Plasmodium shows signet ring stage? Tropozoite always shows signet ring stage. This is very important NEET level question. This is also a very important 1-mark question. What is tropozoite? The feeding stage of Plasmodium on RBCs is called tropozoites. What is signet ring stage? The time the feeding stage of tropozoite is there, the enlargement of vacuole pushes the nucleus at one of the corner, which looks like a nucleus. Whatever this colored one is there now, this is the vacuole, and this dark colored one is the nucleus, which looks like a ring having a diamond onto it. Hence, it's called signet ring stage. Tropozoite now is feeding on the hemoglobin. Is it true? Tropozoite now will break the hemoglobin into two parts, heme part and globin part. And tropozoite is interested to feed only on the globin part because it is rich in proteins. It's only protein, so it feeds only on the protein part. But heme remains unutilized then. These heme particles get deposited as red dots, which is nothing but hemozoin in the center of the RBCs. We call these particular red dots now as Schaffner's dots, named after the discoverer Schaffner. But what are those chemically? Chemically, they are nothing but hemozoin. Hemozoin now becomes very interesting. I'm carrying you into the medical particular part. The medical use of Schaffner's dot. Schaffner's dots are nothing but hemozoin particles. Remember, student, at any life stage of a human being, we never get hemozoin or Schaffner's dots in the human body. Schaffner's dots are only seen in the case when malaria is being caused. Hence, scientists says that this Schaffner's dots, which is chemically a hemozoin, can be used as an antigens. Antigens means marking chemicals because they are excreted by the parasite only. Hence, they are used nowadays to prepare the vaccines against malaria. See, what are vaccines? Vaccines are nothing but practically the real pathogen or some of the byproducts released by the pathogen. So we are using this as an antigens for preparing the vaccines for treating the malaria or for preventing the malaria. So what we understood from this particular part, the time we saw about the sporozoites were added by the female Anopheles mosquito in human body. The sporozoites via the blood traveled to the liver, divided by multiple fissions and converted into cryptozoites. They broke down the liver cells and get added into the blood again. In the blood, cryptozoites entered into the RBCs and started feeding on the hemoglobin. Such feeding stage is called tropozoite. Because of this, vacuole size increased. Nucleus of the tropozoite was pushed up at one of the corner, which looks like a ring-like structure called signet ring stage. Tropozoite, when it is feeding on hemoglobin, it breaks into heme and globin. It feeds on the globin because that is a mainly protein diet which it requires. But the heme particles, which is iron particles, are left behind, which falls on the RBCs as a red dots of hemozoin, which was discovered by Schaffner, called as Schaffner's dots. Extra information for NEET, Schaffner's dots are itself antigens which are used to prepare vaccines. Yes, vaccines are available for malaria so that we can prevent it. There is one question from Aishwarya. So why don't WBCs fight against cryptozoite? Do you think WBCs are watching it? No, WBCs, they will do their actions, but these are present in a large number compared to the WBCs present in the body, as a result of which they will dominate. Surely there is a fight happening. WBCs will surely kill up about them, but their number is more. Hence, they will start infecting faster. And secondly, till the time up about that number is not increasing, till then actually WBCs cannot attack them also, because body's defense system should identify now that something has entered. Before that only this all the stages will complete. Okay. Jagmohan, I have already said the reason for this. You should not sleep in the class. Chalo, I'm not done up with erythrocytic cycle still, students. It's a continuation of our earlier slide itself. Okay, erythrocytic stage. Tropozoites now reproduces asexually and forms large number of next stage called merozoites inside the RBC. See, tropozoites were feeding on the hemoglobin. Na? So when they are feeding, they say, Arya, it is a favorable conditions. Then I should grow in my large number. So they go on dividing by asexual method of reproduction. And they prepare large number of young ones now called merozoites. These merozoites will grow so many that the time you see a RBC, you will feel like it is actually looking like a petals, more number of petals of a rose. Means RBC looks like a rose where every merozoites will look like a petal. Hence, we call this stage as rosette stage. We call this stage as rosette stage. I will show up about the rosette stage, students too. Can you see this diagram? Can you see this? This is the RBC having so many merozoites. Hence, it looks like a petals arranged up into the rose. Hence, called as this stage itself is called. This stage itself is called what I was speaking. Okay. What is this stage? The stage is called rosette stage. So tropozoites now have converted into which stage, students? Merozoites. Due to this, RBC ruptures. RBC breaks down because so many are growing males. They will start feeding on the hemoglobin in large quantity and they will break down the RBCs. And merozoites are again released into the blood to now attack a new RBC cells. In the human body, large number of RBCs happen. Bursting of RBCs now will release that hemozoin. You know, students, what is that hemozoin? Hemozoins were the left behind heme particles, which were called Schaffner's dot. Those hemozoins now are released into the blood plasma. These hemozoin only are the reasons behind giving the chill, high fever, and other symptoms every 3 to 4 days. What does it mean? The time tropozoites were formed in the human body, tropozoite converting to merozoites to complete this cycle. Remember, sporozoite came in human body. They attacked the liver. In the liver, cryptozoites were formed. Cryptozoites came out of the liver, attacked the RBC. On the RBC, cryptozoite converted to tropozoite. Tropozoite is feeding the RBC and converting itself into merozoites. Merozoites will kill the RBC, releases the hemozoin, and now attack a new RBC. This process from tropozoite to merozoite, killing the RBC, attacking a new RBC, this process requires 3 to 4 days. So person who suffers with malaria, once he gets the symptoms, that remains for 3 to 4 days, and it will look like it is decreasing. And again, after 3 to 4 days, again about many RBCs are killed up. Again, the process will amplify. It will increase. Are hemozoins? What is vaccine? Vaccine are the substances of any pathogen or leftover particles itself by which our body will identify, okay, this is actually because of the pathogens. We require an identifying substance for a unique pathogens, and that's the reason we use of hemozoins. Do not say that, sir, if it is a hemozoin, we are using like a vaccine, how can it cause symptoms? Because it is causing the symptoms, so only we can use them like a vaccine. Coronavirus, it enters in the human body and it gives the problem of COVID. Hence, coronavirus only we are using to prepare as a vaccine. Simple. Okay. So here bursting of RBC releases hemozoin that results in chilling high fever to the human being every 3 to 4 days. So I have shown up symptoms of malaria. What are the symptoms of malaria? Very cold person will be feeling it, chilling, and that associated with very, very high fever. Dry coughing will be there, headache will be there, body pain, sometimes vomiting like sensation, nausea, and few of the occasions vomiting also will be there. These are the major symptoms. At the start of this class also I have said you about the symptoms. Same it over here. This is earlier slide and this slide together is erythrocytic stage 2. There is a question from Rakshita, a junior doctor. At night fever will be more. Why, sir? Why always at the night fever will be more? Simple. See, whenever we are at rest, then our energy is not utilized more in movement of our body, muscle contraction, relaxation. So body utilizes this energy to fight against the pathogen. Remember, fever is not given by pathogen. Fever is a symptom given by our body to fight against the pathogen. So whenever we are resting in the night time, fever will increase because this fever will try to kill the pathogen. So don't say that chilling high fever is because of pathogen. No. Remember, what are hemozoin? Hemozoin are leftover heme particles. Heme particles belong to whom? Human being. So these particles are the sensors used to give about the symptom. When fever increases, temperature increases. When temperature increases, pathogen survivability decreases. See, pathogens came to human being considering that normal temperature will be there of 37. But if the body increases the temperature, survival becomes difficult. Our body troubles the pathogen. Many of the times, due to that high temperature, pathogen dies up also. Otherwise, it will become inactive. So fever is there. So at rest, body utilizes energy to increase the temperature. So if other viruses enter body, temperature increases, results in chilling also. Surely there are many types of diseases where similar type of symptoms will be there. But there are certain tests now, like a person who is suffering with malaria, doctor will do up about hemozoin test. If hemozoin test comes positive, then doctor confirms that a person is suffering with malaria. Similarly, for other pathogens, diagnosis will be there now. So hope you have understood the entire process, students. I repeat it again. What it happens? Female Anopheles mosquito, which is having in its salivary glands sporozoites, if it attacks the normal human being and bites it, the sporozoites are added in the blood of a human being. These sporozoites via the blood will move up into the liver. In the liver, these sporozoites will divide by multiple fission, become cryptozoites. Cryptozoites kill the liver cells and are released into the blood. Cryptozoites each will attack a RBC, and now they will start feeding on the hemoglobin. They break the heme and globin, they feed on the globin, and heme crystals are being left as red dots called hemozoin, Schaffner's dots. As this feeding stage is there, we call tropozoite. Tropozoite now will understand it is a favorable climate. It goes on dividing by asexual method of reproduction and now will convert into merozoites. Merozoites will increase in large number, hence it's called rosette stage on the RBCs. Now these merozoites will kill the RBC and now they will burst the RBC and come out. Bursting of RBC releases hemozoin. Looking at hemozoin, our body will start giving the symptoms to kill the pathogen. Till now, body was not knowing that pathogen is there. Release of hemozoin, body understands that some pathogen has entered. So it will increase the fever to kill it. But till then, the merozoites have attacked the new RBC and now again it will become tropozoite. Again, it will grow into merozoite. The cycle continues. Because of this, many and many RBCs start killing it. So the severity of malaria goes on increasing. Is the cycle very clear, students? I repeated it much. But the question arises, such a big process you explained, sir. We understood it. We can also write with our own language. But this is so bigger, sir. Can we write in the examination as a question of 5 marks? Can we complete it easily? That becomes really challenging. It becomes really difficult. So to help you out, I'm going to bring up an answer which looks up very small with the diagram how we have to draw in the exam. Remember, word has come incubation period. Incubation period means from the time the pathogen entered in the body and first symptom is seen. That is called incubation period. What is incubation period, students? Incubation period refers to the day from infection to the first time symptoms are not seen is called incubation period, which for malaria is of 15 days. But depending on the species, the incubation period can be shorter also. Like in falciparum, which is a deadly, lethal, it is very short. Now we have completed how the life cycle happens in the case of human beings so far in the RBC. Now, almost when many symptoms will start coming to the human being, surely body's defense system will activate, human body's defense system. So now the fever is coming very high. So body's immunity, WBCs and others will start developing faster and will say that we will search this particular tropozoites or merozoites and we will kill them. So now it's a time for the Plasmodium that it has to vacate the human body. Because if it is not going to vacate, then he's surely going to get up killed. Because humans' defense system is a very advanced. It is like an army, where once the decision is taken, we will kill it, then 100% it is going to kill the pathogen. That's the reason even coronavirus also is unable to survive in 88.7% of the people because we have recovered. Is it true? So it's very, very advanced defense system of human being. So now the time has come for the pathogen that I have to move out of the human body now. So now it takes a step called gametogenesis stage. Remember the time it entered in human being, first was exoerythrocytic stage in liver, later erythrocytic stage, and now is gametogenesis stage. Some of the merozoites who understood that it is very difficult to survive now. All the merozoites are not understood. Some merozoites who is getting more amount of fever sensation, who is getting troubled more. Now they understood this. So they will transform themselves into a sexually differentiated form. And now we call them as gametocytes. During that time, some small particular gametocytes are formed. We call microgametocytes or male gametocytes. and some will become larger, called as macrogametocytes or female gametocytes. So look here, there are two types of gametes which are going to be formed. Remember, these are not gametes. These are the gametocytes who will going to prepare the gametes. And these are formed by asexual reproduction. Don't say, sir, you have written at the top sexually differentiated. I am saying they are sexually differentiated into male and female gametocytes, but they are formed by asexual method. Once these gametocytes are formed, now they are going to come to the superficial blood vessel. What is superficial blood vessel? Towards the skin area, whatever the blood vessels are there, these gametocytes will travel over there. How did they understand? Wherever the cold temperature they will be feeling, they understand this is a superficial blood vessel. Inside the body, temperature will be 37. Towards the skin, it will be less now. So they will come towards the skin. They're carried by superficial blood vessels. And now when they stay there, now once they stay there, surely a Pabot, that infected person, when is again been bitten by a female Anopheles mosquito, normal female Anopheles mosquito, these gametocytes will suddenly enter into the female Anopheles mosquito. Can you see? Gametocytes will enter into the female Anopheles mosquito. And thus, now again it has entered into the mosquito's body. Can you see this photograph is showing all that particular stages? I'm preparing a beautiful representation so that you should understand the process to the best. Got it, students? Hope you people are not getting bored. Understanding now what happened? The time some of the merozoites understood that this is not the right time now to stay in the body, because the patient's defense system is activated and is going to kill us. Some of the merozoites converted into male gametocytes, female gametocytes, and they will travel to the superficial blood vessel, and they are waiting when a female Anopheles mosquito will bite this human being, and when we will enter via the blood into the mouth of the mosquito. And once they bite up, they will enter into their body. Question here, Preeti is asking, sir, if mosquito are not bite that time, then what? Simple. Body's defense system will activate so much that it will kill each and every gametocytes, merozoites, etc. Then it is the end of that pathogen. But do you think up about that there is only one human being? No, there are thousands of human beings. If at least from one human being the mosquito carries this, then it is sufficient to infect large amount of public. Is it true? So your question is very, very perfect, because there is less chances that he or she is going to get once again a mosquito bite. Because when a person suffers with such a problem, surely they are hospitalized. And in the hospital, care is taken that mosquitoes are never coming. So surely that chances are less that it will go out. But these pathogens have learned this process from thousands of years. Today, because of inventions, we are having mosquito nets, we are having the mosquito repellents, etc. But earlier it was not there now. So they have maintained this cycle as it is. So that is the reason I'm saying it. What is the prevention for malaria? Use the mosquito nets, mosquito repellent. Don't allow the mosquitoes to grow. Because if mosquito only is not there, there is no chances this pathogen will enter in the human being. And neither a chance that infected person will add these gametocytes into mosquito and this mosquito never bites another person again. Control the mosquito, automatically malaria is been controlled. Got it? Took the photograph. So now so far I have taught you what process occurs in the human body. What process occurs in human body. I just repeat it once again quickly. You can see in this diagram itself. a female Anopheles mosquito, added up about the which particular stages, students, at the start? Sporozoites. Via the blood, it enter in the liver, converted to merozoites. Merozoites now starts growing on the RBC, converted into tropozoite. Tropozoite converted into, first it converted into cryptozoites. Cryptozoites further got converted to tropozoite. Tropozoite got converted to merozoite, and the cycle repeated. At some stages, merozoite converted into gametocytes. Gametocytes will enter back into the female Anopheles mosquito. Jagmohan, I have clearly said these are not gametes, these are gametocytes. You have to read it carefully. Where did I use the word gametes? I didn't use the word gamete. Look here, I'm using the word gamete outside when I'm referring the mosquito. In the mosquito, gametes are going to be formed, not in the case of human being. In the human being, what is formed? Gametocytes. Then what are gametocytes, sir? Gametocytes are those cells who will form the gametes. Gametocytes are those cells who will form gamete. Can you recall human reproduction? Spermatocytes will form the sperms. Correct? It's like that. So gametocytes are the structures, are the cells who are formed now. But when they enter in the female Anopheles mosquito, there they will form the gamete. So here still we are discussing a sexual process only. So I said, gametocytes are also formed by asexual reproduction. Don't confuse yourself by this. What is the meaning of this sexually differentiated? It means that the cells are differentiated based on their sex, male and female. It does not mean these are gametes. Okay, so don't get confused by these words. Can I go further? So far, I explained you everything about the human being, how the life cycle of Plasmodium happens. Chalo. Now, what happens the time it enters into the mosquito body? Same diagram, I am continuing it here. Okay, same diagram. Now, what happens the time gametocytes enter in female Anopheles mosquito? Gametocytes now will enter via the female Anopheles mosquito's mouth into the stomach of the mosquito, and now they are going to complete their sexual life cycle. The way diagram is shown, I'll be explaining each and every point. First point, gametogenesis. Whatever gametocytes were added, male gametocyte, female gametocytes were added into the mosquito's body. These gametocytes now will undergo a process to form the gametes. Recall now, gametes are formed in the mosquito's stomach only. Fertilization. The male gamete now fuses with the female gamete to form a zygote. The zygote of the Plasmodium is now called ookinete, or also called vermicule. What is this vermicule? If you look at this particular ookinete, it looks up slightly elongated structure. Can you see this, student? It is slightly elongated, looks like a worm. Hence, the ookinete of Plasmodium is called vermicule. It looks like a worm. This particular worm-like structure pierces into the stomach wall of the mosquito. And such particular structure will now get a protection from the wall of the stomach. Hence, we call this stage as oocyst stage. Now, question arises, sir, why it is taking such protection? Or if it does not take a protection, then the mosquito's defense system will identify somebody has entered. So it will develop a protective covering of the stomach wall so that the mosquito's defense system should not identify. And mosquitoes are very primitive. They don't have such advanced defense system like human being is having. Got it? So ookinete pierces into the stomach wall of the mosquito's stomach wall, student. I am speaking everything in mosquito now. Don't say in human stomach wall it pierces. Are? Look at the photographs, look at the explanation. I am speaking everything into the mosquito and clearly written. It pierces the stomach wall of mosquito and it develops a coating. Can you see this diagram, student? It develops a coating that is called oocyst stage. Next what? Whatever about the oocyst is been formed, this oocyst now will undergo meiosis and later continuous mitotic divisions. But why meiosis? Note, students, entire particular life of the Plasmodium was a haploid stage. Entire life. Who were haploids, sir? Sporozoite, cryptozoites, tropozoite, merozoite, gametozoites, gametes. These all are haploid only. Only the zygotic stage is the diploid. Hence, it shows haplontic life cycle. Correct? Hope you can recall it. So, entire life of the Plasmodium, the nucleus was in haploid stage. Only the zygote and the oocyst is actually now a diploid stage. So, this particular oocyst now says that I have to continue my life. So, now first it undergoes meiosis to convert into haploid cells. And once they convert in the haploid cells, now those haploid cells undergoes mitotic divisions to form a structure called sporozoites. Now these sporozoid, students, can you see, will travel to the mosquito's salivary glands. And once again, such infected mosquito bites up about the new human being. Again, that human being will suffer with the same process. This is how the sexual stage occurred into the mosquito's body. So in the human body, a sexual process occurred. In the mosquito body, sexual process occurred. Take the photograph. Hope you understood the process like a good story, how really it has been happening. Now I'm saying it, such a big process. I explained you each and every stages, but to write this much in the examination, sir, it takes up about 3-4 pages, I feel so. Here, surely it's a big process, but I'm going to make your examination more simple. In short, you have to write the answer. How will you write the answer in short? This is the answer that you have to write it in the examination. Right side, whatever I have written the writer. Now questions in the examination, students. Sometime they will say you for 5 marks only to draw the diagram. Then please only this left hand side, the complete cycle you have to draw. Your answer is completed. Sometime they will say only give the explanation, then write this 7 points, your answer is completed. This diagram is given in the NCERT and this write-up I have prepared for you so that things should become more simple for you. And whatever we learned up, that was required to understand. If I would have said only this 7 point, things wouldn't have been understood easily. So first I explained the process and now I'm saying how to write in the examination. So either they can ask you to draw the life cycle of Plasmodium, then this diagram you draw it as it is. Don't say, sir, we have to draw that hand, everything or what, mosquito diagram also or what? Array, no, nothing like such. You can just write the write-up, that will be sufficient. Even if you write just about the write-up also sufficient. There is no need to draw the hand and other. But if you can just draw it, okay, no problems. Done, students? Okay, there is one interesting question by Harish, technical. So if the mosquito which is infected again bites that patient only, the recovered person once again, then can he get malaria again? Okay, this point to be remembered. Any person when he gets any diseases And if he recovers, it means that his body's defense system has been developed. So body's defense system will have memory now, that how was that pathogen, how did it look. So once again, if the malaria attacks that person, then that defense system immediately within a day will kill that pathogens. So that person once again getting reinfection chances are almost zero. That is the concept of vaccine, students. Just wait, I'm going to teach you everything. Pooja is asking, how can we find female Anopheles mosquito? This is not the age now that you can identify up about this, because it requires large amount of knowledge regarding that. So otherwise, if you want, till then just Google search it up, you will be seeing the photographs. Okay, by the photographs, if you are able to identify, that's well and good. But why you want to know about only Anopheles mosquito? Can you recall? The dengue causing mosquito is Aedes. That is also you need to identify. Chikungunya is caused by Aedes mosquito. We have learned yesterday elephantiasis is vector, which is known as Aedes as well as Culex. So every mosquito is an agent, is a vector for one or the other pathogens. So if you go on identifying each and every mosquitoes, it becomes difficult. Correct? No problems? Take the photograph. My job is over for the today's class. I feel surely you have enjoyed up about the today's session and you have got your all doubts clarified. Every pinpoint I have made it very clear. Correct? Prepare yourself to the best to make up about the examination. Okay, students? So now, no need of thank you. We have to solve up about certain MCQ, students. Or will you say me that you will do up about the MCQs? I will just show you which are the MCQs. I'm just saying it up about for you people. The material which we have sent up about to you yesterday, these are the particular question. I feel, students, you can aram se solve up about this material questions now. Can you do that? Will you really solve it up? Both you have to do it, students. CRTQ as well as about SPQ. All these questions you have to solve it. There are somewhere around 76 questions. Today itself you people have to complete. Though answer keys are here. But why I'm giving to you, it is a very simple now. Very simple questions. I have explained it everything. Okay, there is one question that, so regarding the Swaminathan and other, we have to remember or what? Just for extra information. In exams, nobody will ask it. Okay, nobody will ask it. So first two questions not required. Just it is actually in the next topic you require about this Swaminathan. I don't know why he has added it here. Next topic you will require. Okay, strategies for enhancement in food production. That chapter, not now. You can solve from third question onwards. Okay. Hope you can do that. Every point I have made it very clear. I have actually all these questions I know it while teaching only. I explained you each and every questions. If you say that just to take question and teach up, then it's again about repetition. Not required. You can do that aramse. Okay. Till then, goodbye. Thank you. Hope you have enjoyed the today's class and you will study well. Any doubts and difficulties you can ask me. And anyways, this is going to be a recorded class. It will be posted into the group. You are watching it up about. Okay. Every day again. So if you want a revision, you can go through up about that video once again. It will be posted up about within an hour or so. Okay. So that you can have a good revision. Thank you.